Whoa! Didn't see you guys there. Welcome to another episode of Wrenchin' with Russell. First episode of Wrenchin' with Russell. Today we're going to go over the DRZ400sm, pros and cons to this bike. I just got it in here yesterday. I was putting on a handbrake for it. And so I'm going to go into a little detail about what I like about this bike, what I don't like about this bike, and different parts you can buy for this bike. So, started off, the DRZ is a great bike in the aspect that it doesn't cost a lot of money out the door. It comes supermotoed. There's a bunch of different parts you can buy for this bike, and they're pretty indestructible. I mean, this bike's been looped, and I beat it, redline it, and do all that crazy stuff, and it still starts up first try every time. If you don't believe me, I'll touch the exhaust, touching the motor, and I guarantee it starts up first try. Right out, like a baby. So for the non-believers, yes, this bike is a great bike. It can wheelie, although I still hear people say, oh no, the bike's too heavy to wheelie, it's a piece of crap. No, this bike can wheelie, you can do everything you want it to do. The only thing you're not going to be able to do with this bike is go screaming down the highway at 150 miles an hour. Mine tops out about 88, and that's on like a downhill. So yeah, if you're looking for speed, this is not your bike. I recommend going more towards the sport bikes or something with a bigger caliper motor and shit like that. But if you're looking for a bike that you can cruise around town, look like a badass, and pick up all the bitches with, this isn't your bike either. Do not buy this bike to go pick up girls and to look like a badass. I mean, unless if you're 12 o'clock down your main highway, which is 206 for me, I mean, that's pretty cool, but don't go buy this bike for that reason. Because let me tell you, I've only been able to pick up one girl with this bike, and it's my current girlfriend, and I don't even think she likes me for the bike. So, definitely not a chick magnet by all means. I mean, it's kind of big. It's very uncomfortable to ride with two people, especially like you're up there, you're like, come on, honey, and then they're like, oh, that little tiny seat's for me, and then you're riding like, whoop. It just is, it's not a very comfortable ride. So, this is not a chick magnet by all means, but it is a fun bike for sure. Lots of stuff you can do to this bike. I mean, you can see I got a bunch of aftermarket parts on it. But back to the basics. This bike cost me, I didn't really haggle because I really just wanted the bike and I wanted to ride it. So I was like, whatever I got to do to get it out of the showroom, slap a plate on there and go start ripping the roads. I paid $8,800 for it. And that was a bike that came with supermoto tires. And the definition of a supermoto tire is a 17-inch rim with a street tire. Supermoto tires are not dirt bike tires with street tread on them. That is not a supermoto. So for all you people that keep tagging things on Craigslist and Facebook and say, oh, my bike's supermotoed, and you got dirt bike rims on it with worn down knobbies, that ain't a supermoto. Just getting that out there. So, supermotoed straight from the factory, which is great. Not too many other bikes get that done. I know there was like the 250X model WR that came, I forget what years they made it, but there's a couple like that. Honda made a 230M at one point. That was supermotoed. And I think that's it right now. I mean, there's really not too much. I mean, there's a couple KTMs like the KTM 690. Comes supermotoed. But a lot of bikes come with dirt tires. So if you're buying that, then prepare to spend like $1,000 on supermoto wheels. It's not a big deal if you have to do that. And if you know, like, hey, I want that bike, it's just a cost you're going to have to factor into your budget. Mine came supermotoed. I went ahead and I bought new rims for it anyways because Suzuki gold and yellow clash like a motherfucker, and it just doesn't flow right. So I went ahead, went to the moto store. Go check them out. They got a lot of cool parts. They'll hook you up. They made these beautiful forged rims for me. I'm so happy with them. They ride amazing. They look cool. Way better than gold. I don't have to deal with spokes and crap like that. So it's a great purchase. If you want to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description below. They got a lot of parts, a lot of stuff to buy, a lot of clothing and handbrakes, aftermarket parts, stuff like that. Go check them out. They'll hook you up. So, but yeah, that's why I like this bike. It came pre-supermotoed from the factory. Other than that, DRZ has not changed their bike since like 2000. DRZ fanatics are going to comment on this and be like, oh, you're crazy. I don't know how you don't know the year, but I know from like 2007 to 2019, all the parts are exactly the same. Someone's going to leave a comment saying, oh, no, you're wrong. It's 2000 or like 1998 was the same as the 2019s, but now, whatever. DRZ has not changed their bike because there is nothing wrong with this bike. The motor is bulletproof. I've only known one person to blow it up, and that's because he sits redline 90 miles an hour all through town and just hauling the mail. And yeah, I mean, that'll happen every once in a while. But other than that, this motor is indestructible. The bike's been looped, the frame's still mint, forks are still mint, and all that stuff. So it's a very durable, strong bike. And it's very hard to destroy this bike. I mean, unless you full head-on collision, then knock on wood, your bike will be fine. Now, this bike's got a lot of torque in the first, second gear, third gear range. You can pick up the wheel, no problem. I can do it all the time. So for all those who say it can't be done, they're lying. So the bike is not too heavy to be picking up the front wheel and looking like a badass going down the highway. Slash that, not on the highway, on your nice 45-mile-an-hour back road, because this thing will not pick up on the highway doing fifth gear. Unless if you're shifted through the gears up on the highway, then yeah, you can look like a badass. But Suzuki got it right. That's why they haven't changed anything really. The only new things I've seen on the bike is on the 2019s. They put some emissions delete down here because I guess California passing that new law where no aftermarket exhaust and trying to clean up the air and all that stuff. Thank you, California. Not. They added a little like emissions mod up there. Someone will correct me on what it actually is, but if I had to guess, that's what it is the little emissions mod. But, so you're buying a DRZ. First couple things you want to get, I mean, I went ahead, ripped stock axle sliders off because they ain't saving shit. Went ahead, bought myself some 50 stunt axle sliders. Beefy, they've taken crashes. There's definitely wear on some of them. I got these shorties down here, which I just replaced. And if I can find the puck, you'll see. Oh yeah. So yeah, like 3 days into owning the bike, I was like, Joe Schmo, I'm gonna rip a mean wheelie. Went too far back, didn't cover the foot brake, and boom, bike looped. These things got a bunch of chunks taken out of them, but all in all, they saved the bike completely. There's not really too many scratches on her, and highly recommended. Rip out those stock little ones that are like this big. I went with just the 50 stunt shorties. I run the jumbos now, but that's because I'm kind of turning this into more of a lot bike anyways, so that's the angle I took. So that's definitely one of your first mods you want to do if you buy this bike. Then like it depends on what kind of riding you want to do. If you're going to just do back road riding, then you might want to leave gearing alone. If you want to just hang out in the lot a lot, maybe bump the rear sprocket up a couple teeth, stuff like that. But that brings me to my next point. There is a million different things you can do with these bikes. You can, every lever can be replaced, bar clamps, plastics, exhaust, case savers, brakes, front ends, and stuff like that. There's so many aftermarket parts, replacement parts, that you don't have to be worried. Like right now, like on my 450, I'm looking for parts, and I have to make sure it's a 2012 part, because only 2008s, 2010s, and 2012s are the same, or some weird crap like that. No, the DRZ, it has so many different parts. There's plenty out there. Go to eBay, go to any of these websites, and I guarantee you'll find some DRZ parts. So you can immediately start customizing your bike the way you want it right away. And you can go on Instagram and see all the crazy things people are doing with their bikes. People have got their builds going. And pick and choose what you like and do it kind of your own style. Like, take your own interpretation on it. Like, I didn't really see too many black and red DRZs. So I was like, hey, I want to make a black and red DRZ. And that's the approach I took with this bike. But, so if you're looking to get one of these, it is a great bike. It can do anything you want, to an extent, anything you want it to do. And if you're not sure whether or not you want to shell out more money at the beginning, I would say start with this bike. This is the bike I started with. I learned so much on this bike, and I'm still learning more on this bike. It's a great bike. A lot of people ride these bikes. This is growing the sport because it comes pre-supermoto. So there's a lot of people riding these bikes, a lot of different people to talk to about them, compare, see what parts they're running, see what things they're doing, and stuff like that. So before I wrap it up, I'm just gonna go over it. I kind of did a lot of changes yesterday, and I would have liked to film it, but my camera was acting up, so I just wound up not filming it. And from now on, I will film it, show you guys what I'm doing. So if you buy that part and you're not sure how to put it on, I'll show you the way to do it. There's going to be tutorials on how this motor works down the line, because I know there's some couple internal things I want to do and stuff like that. So I'm just going to go over the bike real quick, things I've done, and if you like any of them, I'm going to leave a lot of links in the description for parts and stuff like that where you can go buy these things. To start it off, front end, rip that headlight bezel right the hell off, and I switched it with a number plate and a light bar. I'm running the Super Motard front fender. I trimmed it a little bit right there. Wheels from the Moto Store, forged aluminum warp 9s, 50 stunt parts, axle sliders, case savers, handbrake, flat out fab 12 bar, bunch of little Zeta dinguses everywhere, ASV, Magora. I mean, so there's a lot of stuff, and I've barely scratched the surface on buying parts for this bike. I have a list in my room that every payday I'll take a little money out and I'll go buy bike part, and it's just starting to get a little expensive because I got 3 bikes and they all need some loving. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you're on the fence, I would say go ahead, pull the trigger on the DRZ400, especially if you have never ridden before. It's a great beginner bike. Learn on this thing. You can take it off-road. I've taken this bike off-road. I've taken it to the lot. I've taken it on the highway. It's not crazy enjoyable for me, but yeah, you can keep up on the highway more so than a 250 and stuff like that. So if you're just getting into the bike scene and you want to start out stunting, or you want to learn how to ride a motorcycle and you like the look of a dirt bike and stuff like that, but you want better, smoother ride than a knobby, the DRZ400 is definitely the way to go. It's affordable, it's durable. The only thing it really has against it is it's heavy as all God hell. Like, this bike is a heavy bike. and it's only a 400. Like my 450 definitely weighs less than this bike does, but I mean it's a steel frame, 450 is aluminum frame and stuff like that. I run a 1 gallon tank on my 450 versus this pig, which is 2.5, 2.4, whatever it is. So that about wraps it up for this episode. I'm gonna go ahead and finish bleeding the brakes. I know nobody really wants to watch me sit here and just 1, 2, 3 crack, 1, 2, 3 crack, open up the cap, fill it up, little wrap. But so we'll end it on that note. Hit subscribe if you want to see more videos. Definitely gonna have some more coming out with the Grom, the 450, maybe even a couple of my dirt bikes. Maybe I can get some of my friends in here with different bikes. A couple of my friends got KTMs, 250s, WR450s, and stuff like that. So maybe I can get that in here, show you guys some of the things I like on them. Also, we'll go back into the DRZ again, go over some more stuff, some more mods I'm gonna do. I got a couple parts on order for it, so when they come in, I'll show you guys how they bolt up and how they work. And then, oh yeah, stay tuned. Maybe we'll hit up the lot one of these days and I'll bring the camera up for once and actually start filming some stuff. So, thanks for watching.